All right, so that gave you a platform.
Yeah, I was quite the intro, and I haven't seen that for a while. So even I was like, "Wow, that's cool, man." But yeah,
You don't. That's not like every morning get up.
it
watch
was
that.
for about 3 months. But you'd be surprised how these things wear off. But that felt good. I'm gonna be honest with you. So thank you so much.
How did it? That put your public profile on an entirely different level, didn't it?
Yeah, it was.
So how did it change your life?
Well, I guess I was still, I was playing the drums and traveling and touring at that point, but that was kind of the first solo moment I had, and it was quite a big one because it was the Champions League advert all year. So every time I would go to like the pub to watch football, my face would flash up at half time, which was quite something. But yeah, I guess it kicked off the Femi Koleoso, a drummer, not just a drummer for someone else kind of moment.
And have you always wanted your own platform?
I guess if you ask my parents, I was quite the performer from very early on in my life. But I guess I've always been attracted to people. I like seeing people in masses. I like stages. I like big events, whether I'm on the stage or just in the audience. So I've always loved those moments, and definitely I'm comfortable in this kind of environment.
Wasn't there a time, you told me about one time at a conference, where you'd ended up praying for a platform?
Yeah, it was at New Day, which is like a Bible camp kind of thing for teenagers, and my church took me every year, and there was a preacher called Francis Chan. I'd never heard of him. Oh, cool, man. I just thought he was a cool guy. I didn't know who he was, but he was telling a story about how he used to spend all of his time praying for the rich people in his community, like, Lord, change the hearts of the rich so that they can actually do some good with their money. And then he said that one day, he said, you know what, God, just make me rich and I'll do it for them. And that sentence he said really hit me, because I spent a lot of time being like, oh, God, convert the rappers' hearts so they stop rapping about nonsense and rap about something good. And then one day I said, you know what, God, give me their platform and I'll say it for you. And so that was kind of the moment that really changed the way I saw this kind of thing.
Fantastic. Well, give us a bit of a insight into how you use your platform now.
Yeah, so what I do for a living is I get to travel the world and play music in all of the cool buildings and festivals or whatever. And what I tend to do is I tend to be on tour for a bit, but when I'm not on tour, I serve at the youth group in my church. And that is actually where my heart is. Drumming's cool and that, but my real passion is seeing young people put Jesus Christ first in their life. And sometimes teenagers can be quite selective with who they let talk to them, as some people may know. So if playing the drums for Drake gets me 10 minutes of attention from a 15-year-old boy or girl, then we're good to go. And so that's kind of how I use the platform.
Nice. You've also had opportunities in sort of universities or schools as you've been traveling around a bit. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so as God has blessed me with a bigger platform, it's become easier and easier to get the attention of schools and universities. So whereas it would be like, I'd say to a teacher, like, oh, I'd love to do an assembly, and they'll be like, why? Now it's like, dear school, currently on tour with Gorillaz. I know you like them. Can I come into the school and talk to the kids? And you can do so much with just 30 minutes with children. It doesn't have to be, tongues from heaven screaming Jesus is going to save you, but just a little moment where you can say, oh, I put God first in my life and he blessed me. It just gives a little bit of confidence to the Christian that isn't that confidence, and a little bit of a belief to the person who doesn't know Jesus Christ yet.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Now, I don't know how many of the audience actually understand what it is to be playing live with Gorillaz.
Yeah.
Some will, some won't. Just give us a feel of some of the challenges, whether it's Gorillaz or anyone else, when you're on tour, high profile, sometimes things going on which you're not comfortable with. How do you play that?
Yeah, no, definitely. A lot of the stereotypes that might come with the industry sector of rock and roll are true. And I'm very much in the world most of my life. And the challenge is not being of the world. There are some things that might happen backstage that I'm going to be a part of because it's great and it's fun. And there's some things where I can't be a part of it, but I'm not necessarily able to leave because it's the nature of being on tour. There's some of the challenges. And then, of course, you're always towing the line of you want to give God the glory, but it's not very good for your mind to walk out and have thousands of people screaming at you. It's not very good for your humility. So you
or
always,
even your mental health, probably.
your mental
ultimately.
health, your humility. It's very bad for you. It's great in the moment, but then afterwards it can cause damage. So you're always towing that line. You don't want to go too far in the deep end and you lose who you are. And then you don't want to be too shy away from it that you can't be a witness to all of those people that God's giving you the platform for. And then, of course, you're away from church for a long time. I grew up in a Christian home. You know what I mean? I'm prayer meeting every week kind of guy. Sunday church. We don't get here when church starts. We get before. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then
You're playing the drums at
yeah,
church as a teenager.
I'm proper church boy. Do you know what I mean? So then, and then suddenly you get a job and they're like, yeah, get on the bus. You're gone for 4 weeks, and then it's 8 weeks, and then it's months and months, and you lose that grounding, and you got to be very careful, because if God's called you to be in the world, you have to make sure your God isn't your church, because that isn't part of it. Do you know what I'm saying?
So you're away, and you're a musician, but it could be an actor or, you know, a whole set of other careers. So how do you keep yourself grounded? What are the, Philippa was just talking about habits, daily habits. What are your daily or weekly habits that keep you grounded and connected with Jesus?
Well, my dad is like really into Christian stuff and that. He's a good Christian guy, and so he instilled this into me when I was very young. We got a 3-point principle. He preaches in threes, and the threes is you got to put God first. Matthew 6:33 is not a joke. It's got to be proper. So it's like you wake up and you pray and you read your Bible. It's got to be first. You get a job offer and then you pray about it. You don't say, yeah, I'm going to be there. You pray about it and then reply. So you got to have a real God-first life. And then the second point is family, whatever that looks like to you. You've got to be surrounded by people that you're accountable to. My mum doesn't think I'm cool. Like, do you know what I mean? I'll call her up and be like, yo, mum, I just did this and I won this. It's like, yeah, but last time you were here, you didn't do the dishes and you did this and blah, blah, blah. It's like, mum, we don't even live together anymore. And it's like, but you need mum and you need dad. I phone dad every morning when I'm on tour. And it's great because he doesn't seem to mind with the time differences. So I'm like, yeah, man, I've just woken up. He's like, yeah, I'm in bed, but whatever. And so, you know, you put
it's
God...
2 o'clock in the morning for Dad, but he's not complaining,
I need to talk to you about something. So, you know, you put God first and then you put your family first. Keep yourself accountable by different types of people. And then the third thing, you have to remember that you're called. Jesus has called you for a mission. That's why you're here. The moment you forget that, you got to go home. But while you remember that, I'm not here just to play drums. Drums are cool. Like, I love playing drums, but there's a reason why I'm not just playing drums in Sunday and I'm in church. I'm playing drums wherever. And so once you keep those 3 things to your heart, and it's not, I'm saying it like it's easy. It's not easy, but it is the way to do it.
I love your Twitter handle, because your first words are Jesus follower.
Yeah, it has to be like that, because you got that God first thing. It starts as habitual and restrictive, and then it becomes natural and real life. You have to get used to being like, oh, yo, I'm Femi. Yeah, I'm a Christian. You just get used to it. It feels a bit weird to begin with. Oh, yeah, I'm a Christian drummer. Where did you learn to play the drums? At church, because I'm a Christian. You get used to it, and then before you know it, it becomes natural. And you'll be talking on stage and it just leaks out. Oh, yeah, because I was praying about, whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's like that kind of vibe. So, yeah.
Last question. Interestingly, Philip and I both went from Daniel, Babylon, Christians out of kilter. What's your hope for our nation?
I really hope in Jesus' name what Jesus Christ did for me, he can do to all the young people at the similar age he did it for me. And when I say what he did for me, I met Jesus as a young, on the cusp of teenage boy. and I suddenly realized the world's opinion of me is not everything, because there's a king in heaven that loved me so much, he died for me. When you think like that, it changes every decision you make. Where it's like, and I love what you were saying, you said it yesterday, you said it today, like, it's easier to complain than it is to create. We can run the risk of complaining, oh, knife crime is so bad. But I know when you got Jesus in your heart, taking a knife out is just a madness, because you know he's your protector and vengeance is his. So it's like, if everyone can get what I got in Jesus Christ, then we will have a better world. And so that's my dream for England and London.
Femi Koleoso, thank you so much.
Thank you.